Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a really old dialogue, but it's about a question that's as relevant now as it was thousands of years ago. What's the real deal with suffering, and is there a way out? So, picture this. A man who has everything. I mean, everything. Just decides to walk away from it all. Why? That's the exact question someone posed to the Buddha way back in ancient India. It really gets to the heart of what the whole spiritual search is about, right? So let's get into the story. All right, so our story kicks off on a road to a place called Rajgir. The Buddha is traveling, and the text describes him as having these 32 marks of a great man, basically a visual sign of his incredible spiritual stature. And along comes this group, 500 elders, led by a well-respected guy named Xian Shou. And when these elders see the Buddha, wow, they're just completely awestruck. The way the story puts it, he was radiating this deep sense of peace that was unlike anything they'd ever seen before. They just had to know what was behind it. So they go up to him, very respectfully, with a burning question. So Xian Shou basically asks, look, world-honored one, what incredible thing did you see that made you give up your entire life to chase after enlightenment? What could possibly be better than what you already had? And here's the kicker. The Buddha's answer isn't about some amazing prize he was going after. Nope. It was about what he saw when he just looked around at the human condition. So the Buddha tells them, look, I didn't leave my palace to get something. I left to find a cure. He explains that he saw this universal sickness, a condition that affects every single living being, without exception. A whole series of sufferings that nobody can seem to escape. And he starts laying them out, these 10 fundamental sufferings. He begins with the big ones, the ones we all know are coming. The pain of birth, the inevitable breakdown of old age, the misery of getting sick, and of course, death. But he doesn't stop there. He talks about the emotional stuff, sorrow, grief, and then he hits them with the big one, the suffering of being stuck in this endless cycle of rebirth, just doing it all again and again and again. And that really begs the question, doesn't it? Are these things just bad luck, an unavoidable part of the deal, or is there something deeper going on, a common root to all this pain? Well, the Buddha's diagnosis goes way beyond just listing the symptoms. He's looking for the source of the infection. And he uses this incredible metaphor to explain it. He says it's like we're all walking around having been shot by 10 great poison arrows. And these aren't literal arrows, of course. They're these deep psychological wounds, the things that are constantly hurting us from the inside out. So what are these arrows? Well, here they are. And the first thing you'll notice is that none of this is coming from the outside. It's all internal. It's the arrow of craving, always wanting more or different. The arrow of ignorance, just not seeing things as they really are. Then you've got greed, arrogance, holding on to wrong views, and that constant engine of desire. The Buddhist says this is the poison. This is what's making us sick.
Okay, so we have the diagnosis, the 10 sufferings, and we have the root cause, those 10 poison arrows. So what's the prescription? What's the cure?
The Buddha boils it all down to one simple, powerful idea: grasping. The original term is kwajor. It's that mental habit we all have of clinging to things. Holding on for dear life to our stuff, our ideas, our relationships, even our sense of who we are, acting like they're solid and permanent. But here's the thing, they're not. Everything is always changing. And this really lays out the two choices we have, the two paths we can walk. If you choose the path of grasping, you're signing up for fear and conflict. It's inevitable, right? Because anything you're holding on to will eventually change or disappear. But if you choose the other path, the path of letting go, of just accepting that things are impermanent, well, that's the road to peace. That's the road to freedom. And this is so crucial. The way to end suffering isn't about getting something new. Not a new car, not a new philosophy. It's about letting go of something old. It's about loosening that white-knuckle grip we have on everything. And when you finally relax that grip, you realize there was nothing to be scared of in the first place. So you have to wonder, how did these 500 elders take all this? I mean, this is a pretty radical teaching. You'd think they need to go away and think about it for a while, right? Nope. The text says the impact was instantaneous, and it was total. The moment the Buddha finished speaking, it was like a switch flipped in their minds. Their entire worldview just shifted. The diagnosis, the cause, the cure, it was all laid out with such perfect clarity that it sparked this massive, fundamental change right there and there. There's this gorgeous line in the sutra to describe what happened. It says, The dust of defilement was left far behind. It's like their whole lives they'd been looking through a dirty window, and in that instant, someone wiped it clean, and for the first time they could see reality for what it truly is, without all the smudges of their own wants and fears and clinging. And their reaction was just as fast, and just as total. Once they saw the truth in what the Buddha was saying, they got it. They understood that their whole way of life was built on this foundation of grasping. So what did they do? They asked to become monks, right on the spot, to follow this path to freedom that had just been laid out for them. And get this, in that very same moment, all 500 of them became arhats. That means they became fully enlightened, totally free. They had pulled out all the poison arrows and broken free from that cycle of suffering for good. Think about that. One conversation, one teaching, and 500 people experienced a complete, life-altering transformation. Which, of course, brings it all back to us. I mean, this story is more than 2,000 years old, but has human nature really changed that much? Maybe we're not attached to the same things, but the forms of our attachments are all around us, right? Our jobs, our social media profiles, our political beliefs. The mechanism of grasping is exactly the same. So that really is the question to leave with. What are modern poison arrows? And what are we grasping onto so tightly?